Hi, this is Jeff Stone of Grandpa's Pride Barbecue from the Panhandle of Florida, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
In a world permeated with barbecue websites under the control of tyrannical administrators, there was one man. A one-man army. He broke all the rules. He allowed his members to speak out, give their opinions, and make the website what it is today. Get ready for Greg Rempe and the Barbecue Central Show.
Live from Cleveland, Ohio, it's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, good evening and welcome to the really big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. This show originated from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, a live fire fun and frivolity show. And this music can only mean we are desperately close to a Christmas holiday. The last live show of 2024 is tonight. So you might be wondering how you can get in contact with the show or how you might be able to follow the show during off-show hours. Here's how you do all that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you can get the newsletter. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, it's been a minute since he has been on the show. However, he has not stopped exploding across social media platforms, nor has he stopped exploding across the country, dare I say globe, with his live fire barbecue tours from officialjackarnold.com. It is Jack Arnold joining the show. 9:14, and then again at 9:35. So first hour, all Jack Arnold, all the time. We'll get a look back at what's happened since he has been on the show the last time, which was early 2019. Plenty of things have happened. A global pandemic has happened on top of that, plus getting out of that and getting into the barbecue tour stuff. He's had some new sponsors come on, new partners come on that he's been talking with. He's had some disassociations with other partners that were very long-term, one specific that we'll talk about. So Jack Arnold, ready to share it all. Plus, we'll get a peek into Jack Arnold's life because we're only seeing what he puts up on social media. So there's got to be a larger percentage that we don't get to see. So maybe we get a peek behind the curtain there during that first hour visit with Jack Arnold. Then we'll move to the second hour, where we will find the usual 9:35 guest on the third Tuesday of every month, but he's bumped back a segment to allow time for Jack Arnold. At 10:14, our pal Wes Wright from cookoutnews.com will join us. What's the biggest news story of 2024? Well, it only took until last week to finally arrive, and others only pale in comparison, and that is the merging or combination or getting together that of Weber and Blackstone. So we'll talk about how that's actually happened, who might have been courting who, What does it mean that Roger Daly is the one that's going to be taking over the combined company as CEO versus Weber CEO, who'll be retiring once that happens? Do all names stay always and forever from a brand perspective? What about competing products or redundancies? What is going to happen in that regard? Lots of Weber and Blackstone talk, to be sure, because it's a hot story and there's a lot to cover. And it's the business segment, so we'll be talking about that. However, as time allows, there's some other topics that I'll be asking Wes about as well. Any update on tariffs that we talked about last month, as President Trump has said that he is going to throw blanket tariffs around. We'll talk about posturing and if he's just looking to make deals in advance of him actually getting into office and those tariffs don't actually take place, or if they do take place, what is or what continues to be the thought process around businesses that are doing the importing, especially from China. So that'll be Wes right at 14 past the first hour. And then we will move to 35 past the second hour, and we will bring a close to 2024 live shows and a close to his quarterly visits in 2024. The very first ever barbecue editor, that at Texas Monthly, Daniel Vaughn, will join the show to close out the show and close out 2024 altogether. Remember, there will be no live shows next Tuesday, Christmas Eve, and the following Tuesday, New Year's Eve, because it's probably bad business to expect that the embedded correspondents, or any guest for that matter, would be widely available on either of those two Tuesdays. We did do the embedded correspondent taping on Sunday. It's huge fun. It is a little over an hour, so that will go into the podcast feed on Christmas Eve, so consume it at your leisure. And then I have a bonus content that will go in on New Year's Eve. So all new content, both Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, so stay tuned for all of that. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram and Twitter and TikToks and the Snapper Snaps and the LinkedIns. We say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to Facebook.com/BBQ Central Show or Twitter.com/BBQ Central Show. You can also watch on YouTube, which is YouTube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we have a new YouTube poll question of the week, and we're asking everybody this on the heels of Meathead's segment last week. Will you buy Meathead's new book when it is released in 2025? And up until a few moments ago, it was on the other end, but 56% of you are currently saying, yes, you will buy Meathead's new book. At one point, it was 82% to the negative. Quickly, that is corrected itself. I'm surprised it's this close to 50-50. I figure we're all fans. We all appreciate the content and the knowledge. I was expecting to see 80 to the positive at a minimum, but we are very close to 50-50. I would imagine one more vote gets into the negative. We're probably at 50-50. So we'll see how that plays out through the rest of the show and with our guests this evening. So we start here tonight, and I have to say, these last few months of talking with some of these great Instagram stars has been fascinating to me. Last week with Austin Dennis, and by the way, we are working out some type of a quarterly segment with Austin. I think he has a lot of great insight, and we'll give a bunch of real-world info on how social media is actually paying off for people that want to do it. Remember, last week, he said he does it full time, and he's only been doing it for a few years tops. And you know me. I want to know what money one can make and what that means in relation to being able to do it as your only job or your full-time job is being on social media. I'm endlessly fascinated with that kind of stuff, and I think we'll get some real insight as to what that life is really like as we bridge into 2025, especially with the knowledge that Austin Dennis has as he's actually doing it and doing it very well. iCookYouLook.com is his website in case you missed it or you're just tuning in for the first time this evening. Also, programming note, as I had mentioned a few minutes ago, these next 2 weeks will be new content. They will not have live shows.
We'll do it live.
We're not going to do it live, Bill. We are going to do it taped in the podcast feed.
We'll do it live.
Even at your insistence, Bill, we will continue to do a tape this time around for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So make sure you're subscribed to the podcast feed. You'll hear the embedded correspondence next week, and you will probably hear Alton Brown and his keynote from the Thermapen event from a number of months ago. Although it's not super great quality, I think it's still important enough to post. Feedback from fans of last week's show, and look at this. Would you be surprised if I told you Terry in Kentucky has written in?
Terry?
Terry has, indeed.
Terry?
Yes, Terry. Greg, I listened to the show last week, and I heard Mike McLeod. You guys talk like this World Food Championships has been going on for so long. This isn't the first year. Love the show. Regards, Terry.
Terry?
Terry, I don't even know how long you've even listened to the show. Is it a month? Is it 2 months? Is this what we're talking about, Terry?
Terry?
Terry, World Food Championships has been around for literally 13 years, I think. Like in the early teens of the 2000s and teens. Started in Las Vegas, went to a number of other areas. It's landed in Indianapolis now. Come on, Terry. You are a better fan than that. Or you're just trying to get me to bite into rule number 2 of the show, which is don't get hooked. I'm not breaking my own rules of the show. Terry.
Terry?
But I appreciate you writing it. Merry Christmas to you. Jack Arnold's in the green room. We're going to get to him here in just one moment. Before we do that, we'll talk to you about Schwank Grills. That's what this baby is right here. You see him throwing on some chicken wings and other nonsense. Oh, it's going to be so good when you cook it in the Schwank. But gang, you can still take advantage of not only 1,500 degrees, cutting a lot of time out of cooking your steaks, get an infrared cooker now, highly portable, all that's great. But you love the free stuff. I know the Centralites. So right now, if you go to schwankgrill.com, S-C-H-W-A-N-K, schwankgrills.com, and you purchase a Schwank grill, 2 fuel options, liquid propane, I suggest. However, if you want to pipe it up to the house, go natural gas, all you. Either one. You get the grill, you pay for that, and then Schwank Grill picks up the following. Free grill cover? Yes. Free pizza stone? Yes. Free pizza peel? Yes. How about an apron to keep you clean so you can eat right at the dinner table and not be a slob? Yes, they will do that too. Oh, cutting board? Yes, cutting board as well. Holy moly, that's a lot of free stuff. You don't even need a code. You just show up to the website, you buy the Schwank Grill, the grill comes along with a host of free stuff. You're gonna be a Pizziola to Pizziolas. Give me a break. Apron, cutting board, you name it. You're outfitted with free stuff. That's the best part, right? We love the grill. We love the free. Tying you back. Don't wait. It's almost over. Schwankgrills.com is the website. And again, no promo code needed. Just go to schwankgrills.com, get the grill, and then get the free grill cover, the pizza peel, the pizza stone, and the apron, and the cutting board. Let's go. We are back with Jack Arnold right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets. For all of your pellet-driven cookers, you visit cookinpellets.com to see the products, and then when you're ready to buy, go to Amazon.com or Walmart.com or Lowe's.com. Same great products, just incredible shipping rates through those vendor partners of Cookin' Pellets. The good folks over at cookandpellets.com. My next guest in the first hour is one of the most recognizable faces in Backyard Live Fire. One of 3 people that I know of who have effectively billed themselves as a barbecue entertainer, has last appeared on this show in March of 2019, but first appeared on the show almost 6 years ago to the day, if you can believe it, that being December 18th of 2018. We race to the hotline breathlessly and welcome back our pal Jack Arnold. Jackie boy, I mean, everything that we have been through, people have no idea what the last 72 hours have been like for us, making sure that we are getting all of this stuff set up. But I appreciate you going through all the logistics and doing the first hour here. Before we get into everything and kind of play catch up with you in the first hour, YouTube poll question of the week, we're asking everybody, including all guests, will you buy Meathead's new book when it comes out in 2025? Yes or no?
First off, what's up, Greg? Great to see you, man.
Yep.
Second of all, yeah, Meathead's pretty much an absolute legend and an extraordinary guy. I think everyone needs to be picking up that book if they want to learn a few more things about barbecue.
56% of the voting public on YouTube agreeing with you and agreeing with me, Jack. The other people are way, way off base, but we'll leave it at that. So,
yes, sir.
2019 was the last time you saw me on this show, and we talked about live fire stuff. But a lot of things have changed since 2019. So I thought maybe in that first segment we'll do a little retrospective and see where we're at. And then when we come back after break, we can take a look at what's ahead here in 2025, what's transpired in 2024. So if you could possibly...
That sounds great to me, sir.
You could possibly remember what was going on middle March of 2019. What has happened since then?
Well, let's see, middle March of 2019. That was a long time ago. I'm sorry it's been so long, but we've been through an entire spectrum, a whole new program, a whole new movement that was built that just pretty much didn't exist. And of course, without the great partners who I've had along the way who support me and believe in me, it wouldn't have happened. But even more so, the properties that we've been working at, I mean, they could truly hire anyone in the world they want to host their barbecue events. And for them to put their money on me and bet on me, the least I can do is bring something they've never seen before and make sure the folks don't only have a good time, but a time they never forget. So beginning in March of 2019, I was getting prepared for my very first barbecue event, actually, which was Memorial Day of 2019 at the Four Seasons in Orlando, Florida, Disney World. I remember it like it was yesterday. The great chef Fabrizio Snardi, executive chef. Sous chef was Ryan Schelling at the time. He is now the executive chef of the Four Seasons in Maui. Ooh, so they've a big upgrade. Just extraordinary gentlemen. And again, I didn't really know what was going to happen after that. The conversation actually began at the Four Seasons in Las Vegas in September of 2018. I spoke to a great guy named Adam Tuttle. He was the front desk manager, and basically what he said was, it was so cool. It's like, man, I do know who you are. I appreciate you. And honestly, I bought my grill because of you, my Big Green Egg because of you. And that was very flattering, just the greatest, kindest guy. And I'm one of those guys who, if I don't write it down or if I don't rudely interrupt you, then I'm going to forget my train of thought. And lo and behold, came the idea to do an event, getting all the partners involved to do an event there, because the Four Seasons in Las Vegas is at the end of the strip in Mandalay Bay, and can be a little bit more difficult to keep your guests there as opposed to wanting to go out on the strip and spend their money elsewhere. So we found an awesome way to generate revenue for the hotel and let the guests just have a good time.
So this guy just knows you from like Instagram or social media?
That was pretty much it. And the coolest dude. And I'd been out to that hotel before, and it was pretty spectacular the way it worked out. And then the first one being Orlando, the conversation began in Las Vegas. First event was actually Orlando, and it was very successful. It was a great time. They get positive feedback, and all the chefs and all the managers, food and beverage directors, they all talk about what works and what's different for everyone. And I did not know that when I did that one in Four Seasons Orlando in May of 2019, that it would be my full-time job as I sit here with you in December of 2024.
But this isn't like the CEO of the Four Seasons saying, hey, everybody go around and hire Jack. Like, how are you getting yourself, aside from other people talking? So that's one thing. Positive word of mouth is great. But there still is
that's
closing.
The best way. That's the easiest way to connect.
Of course. But there is a closing of a deal that has to take place, or seeing
visual
Jack
aid
in person and saying, I buy you.
Visual aid.
How easy is that?
Matters. Well, you look at Instagram, you can see it. You look at press releases and you find out, the places that have worked. I'm like, okay, if that worked there, let's try it here. And I'm just so grateful that they're willing to take a chance on me, because it's like it's all progressed now through all these years. I mean, we've done just dozens and over 100 events easily. And we're to the point now where we've landed residencies into 2029, which we'll talk about here in the second segment. I know we're still in the first part, but the first event was May 24, Memorial Day weekend of 2019. So that was a pretty solid start, to the summer of that year, I must say. And I had been with Big Green Egg for 1 year at that time that it began.
What does it look like back then from what a ticket purchaser could experience versus what we're seeing now?
Now that I've gotten a lot more experienced, and the chefs and I trust each other, they know that I'm there to have a good time. They know that I'm not a chef. I make that very clear. I'm just a guy who cooks steaks. I know how to entertain the crowd, and they see that for themselves. And a lot of them are just very honest with me. And they were like, I did have, doubts about this at first, but thank God that we brought you in, because we needed the energy. We needed the spark. And that's honestly what I do it for, is because it's never been about me. The only way I was ever going to make this work was for having respect for these unbelievable, incredible, world-renowned properties, to make sure that they're at the top of the ticket, man. It cannot be me. It cannot be a Jack Arnold event. No, it is a Four Seasons, a Ritz-Carlton, a St. Regis, Montage Road. It is their event, hosted by myself and then powered by the partners. So that's a level of respect that I had to have from the very beginning, that they all acknowledge. I mean, these are very, very, very smart people, very intelligent people. Yeah. They've probably been approached by a lot of people about doing things like that. So again, just very grateful that they took the chance on me. And now it's caught on some pretty major fire, to say the least. Yeah, no doubt about it. So aside from growing the barbecue tour stuff, at the time we were talking, you were also doing a day job. You've mentioned that the barbecue tour and the associated live fire stuff is now full-time. What else was going on inside your life, 2019, 2020 stuff? Well, 2019 was... I always try to be respectful of people who, everyone has issues and problems, but boy, I sure don't want to hear about someone telling me about an emotional roller coaster because they didn't know about my 2019. I'll tell you that, because that was something that I wish no one would have to go through. July 4th, I hosted a barbecue at the Four Seasons in Surfside for who was the hotel manager at the time, my good friend Koji Akabashi, who I adore and still talk to this day. And that event was so magnificent, and it, built off even more events. And that July, I had spoken with the Four Seasons in Dallas at Las Colinas about doing an event there. And they confirmed it with me. And my dad was so excited, because my dad was a native Texan, born in San Antonio, raised in Corpus Christi. Went to undergrad at TCU and law school at SMU, which is, that sounds a little odd to some people, but, TCU didn't have a law school. So he went to Dallas and did that there. Yeah. So he was all fired up about that event in Dallas, and was going to fly down and come and attend, and just, he made me so happy that I could make him proud to do one in his home state. And the best part of that year, and obviously of my life so far, was we expected our first child, Naomi, on August 24th. And she was born on August 18th. But sadly, 5 days before she was born, I took my dad to the hospital because I noticed just some symptoms in him. He was just acting a little differently. His brain didn't seem like it was operating correctly. And August 13th, I took him to the hospital, and he was diagnosed with a glioblastoma, major brain cancer, inoperable tumor. 90 days to live. And Naomi was born a few days after that. So I am literally going through the best time of my life and the worst time of my life at the exact same time.
Yep.
My relationship with my father, he was my best friend. He was my best man at my wedding. He taught me how to grill over charcoal when I was 9 years old. I remember the first time. It was great. So 2019 took a turn. I really had to find, this is what Dad would say, this is the measure of the man behind it. Like, can you handle this extreme along with this extreme paralleled, going on? No one's ready for that. Little girl's born. My wife needs me at home to help be with the baby and help her out with those things. I mean, anyone understands that. Meanwhile, my father is across town in a hospital 45 minutes away, and I know that my time is very limited with him.
Yep.
So balancing this was not very easy at the time. So it was a very rough August. September was even more rough because I knew that the time was dwindling down. We were able to get Dad back to Texas to be with my aunt and uncle, who were able to give him a lot more care than I was able to give him. I knew my dad would have wanted me to be with, my wife, my daughter, trying to help with that more than anything. So, blessed that Mr. Robert Rebholz was able to make that happen and got him there. I had a couple of events coming up. My fall segment of what had been working came up, and I was doing an October event at the Four Seasons in Los Angeles on October 19th. That was kind of rough. And then I think I went to Las Vegas to do a dinner after that. Dad's 71st birthday was October 30th. So I flew down there a couple days before that. We got to see him, took him out to dinner, and I flew home the next day. I did not know that was unfortunately the last time I was going to see my dad.
Yeah.
He passed away November 6th. The way that went down was rather extraordinary. I was November 5th that night. I went over to Christian's house, my good friend Christian McCaffrey, and I was cooking dinner with him and the boys. It was Paul Swan, one of the greatest humans I know, Tim Roach. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Brother Tim Roach and brother Greg Van Roten. And while I was cooking dinner, I got a phone call from my uncle that Dad had 24 hours to live.
Wow.
Wasn't prepared for that at the moment. I thought he was going to have a little bit more time. We were hoping he was going to make it to Thanksgiving. This is November 5th. And I don't tell this story very, very much. I've told it to my close friends. Of course they know. The world doesn't know this, but put the phone down, started just bawling. The boys knew something was wrong. And I said, guys, I got the call that he's got 24 hours to live. God bless Christian McCaffrey. That human being jumped out of his seat, told Tim to get me a ticket, the next ticket immediately to get down to Texas to try to beat the clock. We'll never forget that. The boys were so great. And you know how you always and I was apologizing to the boys because, I was teary-eyed. They all understood. I had nothing to apologize for, and they told me that.
Right.
But they, you always want to be tough in front of your boys, in a way. You don't want to you just always want to try to in a kind of way, not tough. You just always want to, be
and
that.
by
But
the
that
way,
kind of moment
that's a different crowd. This isn't like, my guys. These are like pro athlete, man's men type guys. So, even probably more of a stigma there.
Yeah, it was. But fortunately to that point, we were way past barbecue and football. I mean, we are still just great friends to this day. But Christian is the guy who gave me a fighting chance, because they told me Dad had 24 hours to live. And I believe God works in very mysterious ways. I was going to arrive there within 14 hours of getting that call, and I was told that he had 24. I think God saw that I was going to beat that 24-hour clock. And the last thing I heard from my aunt and uncle was that he looked in a very bad way, that I probably wouldn't want to see him like this. And I think God just chose to bring him to heaven before I showed up, so I didn't have to deal with that. Thank God he was able to hold Naomi one time before it was all done. She was only a few weeks old. Leslie and her mom brought him out to the airport to see him, to meet him. We got a lot of photos and videos, and it was great. So things you're never, ever ready for in life, bro. Especially when this dream job of mine was just beginning to excel and take off. I now have a speed bump, to say the least, but what do you do? And I just remembered things he always told me, like, it's all part of being a professional. And he reminded me long time ago the story of Frank Sinatra. I believe it was 10 minutes or so before he went on stage for one of his shows. He was told that his father passed away, went on stage and was known for giving one of the greatest performances of his life, came off the stage and was asked about it, and he said, it's all part of being a professional. So things I remember, the positive times, the good times, that's all you can do. Everyone's been through these tough things. 2019 was a very, very tough year, but it was the greatest year because, sadly, out with one generation in came a new one.
Yeah, I mean, right on the heels of one another too. It's the timing is
correct.
Insane. Yeah, it's insane.
Correct. And that's just things we all have to go through in life. And I'm not looking for any pity or anything like that, as we all have it. But that is my story, and that's what made this a bit more difficult. But I knew we had something very, very special with this new, program that we had built that was beginning to catch on.
So
thank God for Christian and the boys, because they were there for me when I needed them the most.
Yeah, for sure.
Cheers to them always.
Great to have friends like that who have your back. As you work through it and you get into enjoying Naomi as an infant, and now she's going to start growing up very quickly, how are you able to, I think it's important for people to remember, for those of us who follow you on social media, we're only getting to see whatever percentage of your life that actually is. A lot of people think maybe that's your whole life, but in reality, it's like an iceberg, right? We see a third of you, and there's 2/3 or maybe even more that we have no idea about. So how do you reconcile the whole, I'm a new dad and maybe my wife wants me around, but this job really forces me to travel in order to be successful? How do you get right with that, and what kind of encouragement do you get?
That's a great question, and we have a great balance with it, because what people forget, most of my events are on the weekends. People work Monday through Friday. Most of them are on Saturdays, and a lot of them on Sundays, sometimes Fridays. Those are the primary days. People don't realize that I am with my family Monday through Thursday. I get to take Naomi to school and pick her up Monday through Thursday, because my wife has a full-time job too. And we have a great balance with that. I usually take my Friday flights. If I have the Saturday event, I usually take my Friday flights out at 11 a.m. or after, so that I can always take her to school. So when I am here, it's 100% me. Now, when it comes to the events, you're exactly right. Again, because they only see a fraction of it. They see me up there having a good time and be like, dude, he's throwing fire up there. He's dancing. He's cooking steaks. He's running around the crowd. What is Jack really doing? But that's why I say I really just, wish people could see it. I know I can't be everywhere at one time. And, that's what it's so important about, is just coming and seeing something different. It's a great time in a beautiful setting with the backyard food that you love and the people you love, hopefully. And you never know who's going to show up at these events, because it can be anyone, anytime, and they are there for a good time.
Do you ever get, has it been hard for you to be comfortable in Jack Arnold's skin? You put a lot of yourself out there on social media. A lot of people want to take shots at everything that's happening on social media. How comfortable are you in your skin now, and were you always so comfortable?
I haven't changed. I've always just enjoyed this, because the people who I trust the most and I know love me have told me to never change, just always be me. And I am the same person. This job is incredible. I love it, but it's me having a great time doing this for other people. Getting the smiles on their faces and getting positive feedback is what it's all about. As far as people trying to rain on the parade, yeah, I mean, there's always going to be someone out there. I mean, you're never going to please everybody, and I know that. You're going to try your best to, but if you try to get like 100%, you're just going to let yourself down. Yeah. But to those who don't believe in it, or who don't, or who think whatever they think of it and they don't care for it very much, I've been known for saying that I'm not for everybody, but I am a limited edition in the barbecue world. But the truth is, it does hurt when I get word that someone said this or someone said that. And, everyone has feelings, they have emotions. And even if some of them may or may not be some of my barbecue heroes, it's just one of those things. I really wish they would come. I wish they would just come and see it, so they could see all the hard work that goes into it. People don't see the months of planning that we all have to go through to make these things happen and try to make them as good as possible. And I wish they would come just to see one, so they could see all that. And I think it would change their mind. If they came into it open-minded, I think it would change their perception that what we do is totally different. And I'm just there entertaining the crowd, doing one of the few things that I think God helped me do well, was cook steaks and some other stuff. But thank God, it was the things that I never forget. Mark Furlan, the general manager of the Ritz-Carlton Naples, where I just did a Thanksgiving weekend barbecue event for the spa members. When he introduced me to the microphone, something that he said that just meant so much, said, "This guy is known for bringing people together." And I was like, man, this guy gets it. I could hug him right now, but that'd be so unprofessional in front of the spa members. So, but that's wonderful. And, these folks, I could go on and on about all of them. I could name an entire list of them if I wanted to right now, for the people who have really just gone to bat for me, and just have seen it with their own eyes and see that there is something to it.
As this was really starting to take off, you have to now contend with all the other things that were going on in 2019, happy and sad. 2020 is coming along. You're probably really gearing up to launch like crazy. Oh, by the way, there's a global pandemic. How does that affect you?
Well, the day job is in the past at the beginning of 2020, because the demand is so high and I can't do both. So there's a lot of high hope in January for what this year is going to become.
Oh, yeah.
I remembered that tour schedule and everything that we had. February 7th, I hosted a Super Bowl barbecue at the Four Seasons in Miami in Brickell. It was awesome. All my friends showed up. Shout out to all of them, the players, like my good friend Dan Cantor, Sammy Schnurr, the Naughty Fork, Lisa McCaffrey. I mean, they all came. They showed up. Taylor Moten. It was a great time. We did not know at the time, February 7th, 2020, I may have thrown a COVID party.
Yeah, right.
We didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
Because it didn't come out to the end of that month, I believe. And we were like, oh, well, let's hope nothing happened there. Well, The world goes on pause, as we all do, because this is something we haven't seen in our time. So what do I do is the question.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it didn't take me very long to figure out, I think we can just do some low key, private dinners, under the radar, follow the rules, do that kind of thing.
Yep.
Because people still need to eat. All the restaurants are closed. And I stayed very active in the barbecue world with everyone, that I needed to at the time, so we can hit the accelerator. And I was ready to do that as soon as they were ready to. And we did the Four Seasons in Santa Fe in 2020. I believe it was September of 2020. And we followed all the state guidelines. Everything was perfectly in play, and we had a very successful sold out event. So, it was one of those things you really had to be careful. But I don't let things like that stop me. I just never have. I don't ever give up, And I did not believe in my heart that I was going to die from this virus. So I was willing to, take a few more risks, maybe more than I should, but you want rewards, you got to take risks, right?
Before we get into the break, the other thing I wanted to mention, which was last year, was a pretty big inclusion on a fairly large list, that being Forbes. What does that mean to the Jack Arnold business?
Well, thank you. What did that mean to my business?
It's a big deal, by the way.
It was. I could not believe it. I still can't believe it at this point. Shout out to my very good friend Justin Mahey, the CEO of Kopu Water, who basically dropped my name to them, and my now good friend, just an extraordinary woman. I call her my president, president of ratings for Forbes Travel Guide, Amanda Frazier. We began the conversation in June, and she asked me if I would be willing to do that, if I think I could do it. She said it was for 700 people. And all I think in my head is, I'm a man of solutions, not problems. You want it, I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
And she let me choose the official event partners that I could bring into it. It was super cool. She's like, Jack, you can bring Chick-fil-A if you want, as long as it's presented to the crowd properly. And we wound up, it was February 29th of this year. And one of my dearest friends and my director, Tyler Bailey, just cinematic genius. I love that human. He flew out there with me to document that. And it's pinned on my Instagram right now. And it's been rolling for a while. And it's a lot of fun. It showed the rooftop vibe that they wanted to do. I mean, it was in Las Vegas, you're inside the whole time. They found a way to get everyone outside, and we had a great turn. The wind picked up a little bit and a few glasses broke, but everyone who was out there gave me positive feedback. They had a great time. They enjoyed it. Great energy, great music. And that one event, I didn't know, was pretty much going to fill me up for the rest of the year with bookings. Once they gave me the logo and made it official, and they told me to put it in my emails, people see that that's the truth. That's the real deal. There's no question about that. So when Forbes Travel Guide was willing to take a chance on me and believe in me for that really, really launched it. And I felt that it would, but I didn't know how great of a magnitude it was. And it still built me into 2025 and beyond. So I don't know if I'll ever do a Forbes Travel Guide event again, but if I do, wow, it's very special, because we can bring some major energy that they just don't see every day. So it was phenomenal. Let's
take a pause here. We'll come back and we'll talk about what you have planned for next year, and we'll talk about some other things as well that I'd like to hit on. And so stand by. We'll be back in a couple minutes. We're talking with Jack Arnold. Official jackarnold.com is the website. Of course, Jack Arnold over on Instagram. If you would like to follow him over there, I would suggest that you do if you're not doing that already. Hey, Pits and Spits is here, and they're ready to tell you, if you're serious about your grilling game, and in this conversation tonight, we are all serious, then you need to check out their latest offerings. Let's kick things off with the Pits and Spits Griddle. The gas griddle combines the power of a traditional grill with the versatility of a flat-top griddle. Engineered with precision, crafted from top-quality materials, this versatile griddle is set to revolutionize your outdoor cooking experience. Constructed of 304 marine-grade stainless steel, fully welded design, the griddle comes with 4 burners to accurately manage your heat zone and gets blistering hot with 80,000 BTUs. Made with that signature quality The griddle is designed to last for generations. Now, for those of you building your ultimate outdoor kitchen, you have to check out the built-in pellet grill, designed for discerning grill masters who demand top-tier performance. This grill is the centerpiece of any serious outdoor kitchen, from low and slow smoking to high-heat searing. The grill handles it all. Brisket, ribs, pizzas, veggies, you name it, this thing can cook it. And with Pitts and Spit's legendary craftsmanship, you can be confident it's built to last, with stainless steel construction and a design that's as reliable as it is versatile. So if you're ready to take your cooking to the next level, head on over to pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. That's pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central with a double T on the pits and the spits. Use promo code BBQ Central at checkout for a free spice pack with orders of $500 or more. A cinch to do if you're buying any cooker, by the way. I recommend getting the built-in pellet grill and the grill/griddle. You're set for life in your kid's life. Maybe their kid's life. Pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. More Jack Arnold. Stand by.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
Hey, this segment brought to you by Fireboard, makers of Fireboard 2, Fireboard Pro, Fireboard Spark, Fireboard Beacon, and the all-new wireless Fireboard Pulse. If you use the Fireboard app, you have total access to all devices anywhere in the world with a cellular connection as long as it's on Wi-Fi. Fireboard.com for more information, or call 816-945-2232 with your questions, as we are joined once again by Jack Arnold. All right, Jack, so Forbes is great. It's launching you into new heights, and then lo and behold, on a post, I see oh, wow.
Andrew, you are not the
I see not a big green egg. What happened?
Things happen. Life happens. I am forever grateful for these awesome years that I've had with Big Green Egg. I couldn't have done it without them. But where I think people go wrong in any of these situations is where they get it in their head that things last forever. I always had this in my head, locked in for a long time, that nothing lasts forever. Just believe in yourself, and it's totally all good. So we went with a new company. We began with a new company on January 1st that is extraordinary. I love the brand. I love the guy who I've been working with, who's been helping me. We've already used these grills at a couple of events. We are going to be using them on December 27th at the Forbes 5-star St. Regis in Bal Harbor, Miami, which, by any chance, have you seen that property, Greg?
Yeah, it's pretty nice, if I'm underselling it.
It's unbelievable. This is one of the nicest I've ever done. And nice. I met Fabian, the manager at the Forbes event, and just a great guy. So I'm very, very honored to be down there doing that. And we're going to be using the new grills right there on the beach. Tyler's coming to direct the event, kind of like that. And then the very next night, we have our 2024 tour closer at the world famous Boca Raton Resort. Not very far from Bal Harbor. So I'm so excited for the Boca Raton, because we actually have 3 events in 3 weeks, like a 3-event residency that we're doing there. December 28th, January 16th, and January 19th, ending with a Sunday brunch, which is going to be really, really awesome. I'm looking forward to that. So thank you very much to my friend Hector Rubio there, and GM Daniel Hostetler, for bringing me in and let me do multiple events at your property in such a short amount of time. I'm really excited for it. It's going to be here before we know it.
When the disengagement happens with Big Green Egg, do you ever think that, hey, is Is a lot of this success or more of this success because of the grill, or has it always been in your mind that, anybody associated with the Jack Arnold train is going to share in what I'm bringing to the table, but also I know that without me, there's nothing else?
Well, back to the whole believing in yourself thing, these grills, they're very high quality. They're going to speak for themselves. The meats that we use are just, Colorado craft beef, my God. Jeff Smith, the product they put out with my partners.
Good dudes. Good women.
Oh, amazing. Yep. Amazing product, I'm telling you. And Jeff and Kara worked so tirelessly to put out that product. We've been putting them all over the map this year. Those products speak for themselves just because they're so great, but energy and engagement tends to carry the party and keep people there. The food, they're going to remember. Obviously they're coming for the food, but I want them to be coming to also have a great time. But it's not about me. My name is not that well known to where it's going to like sell out in a hot cake, in a hot minute or something like that. So I think that they see that it's a beautiful setting. It's got quality names all involved, and come check it out and see what you think. If it's a night that you will remember for a while.
How do you run this business? People all the time are wanting to be famous on social media, or maybe not famous, but they want to make social media the job versus doing a traditional 9-to-5 corporate gig, whatever that would look like. As somebody who has now done it for a number of years, a number of different ways, a number of different partners, what are the core 2 or 3 things that you would tell anybody if they came up and said, not necessarily, hey, I want to also be a Jack Arnold, but I want to be in some kind of a related space? What are the most important things to try and knock down for success?
Well, as far as my line, what I do, I have to know that what I'm doing works. And then I also have to know that it's not my show. It's my idea. It's my concept, but it's their show. We run it how they want to, and we build it around my ideas, which is the way it goes. If people want to, do social media nonstop and they're making a great living doing that, I love them. I respect them. I think that's extraordinary. It's a great way to do it. And it's a very noble pursuit. I've always been known as a man of the people. So I have to go out to the crowd. While people see things on social media, they think that's awesome. It's different when you see it in person, and when we're bringing a serious vibe to it that you're not going to see anywhere else, built around backyard barbecue. One of my very best friends, a very good friends, James Marino, is also my choreographer, and he will fly and he'll fly out to some of these events, and we'll add an extra little bit of spice to one of these shows to show them something they've never seen before. So there's no one else, fortunately. For me, I'm very blessed that no one else really has this job. So that alone,
like nobody, by the way,
says that it's different. Well, so that's what makes it. What makes it special.
There's only 2 other people, and they're related, that have ever used the term barbecue entertainer. So I think maybe you coined the phrase, and maybe they heard it, or they all have also used it. The only 2 are a sister duo out of Canada, Maddie and Kiki, and they bill themselves as barbecue entertainers, but wildly different than what you're doing at the various properties. But that's it. 3 people I've ever heard use barbecue entertainer, and you seem to organically and genuinely live up to whatever that definition is. So what is barbecue entertainer? Define it.
It means that I'm cooking a lot of the proteins on the grill. I've got the timing of them in my head to where I'm like, okay, I flipped them. I've got 4 minutes before I need to come back and flip them again. Go out in the crowd, go see a few tables, try to keep the clock in your head before you need to go back, because you don't want to burn them. And therefore you're multitasking. Some of them even want you to take a shot of tequila with them. And I a lot of times I ask, I'll ask the GM or food and beverage director in charge, like, I don't think I should do this. Should I? Some of them will be like, no, just wait till after.
Yeah.
And then some of them are like, they're the guests. They're paying. Do that. Don't upset them.
Right,
So
right.
I always ask to be safe, and I do what makes them happy. But again, you have to keep the timing in your head of the food behind you, because that's what they're there for. They are hungry. So, but that way you're able to multitask and go around and do everything, and then get back to the grill. And then once you pull them off, you can go out and see a few more people, do the rest period. So, and then come back and slice them. And then we bring them out and you start rocking. And we got music going the whole time. So once people have a drink or two, they start hearing songs they know and love, and they start rocking and enjoying themselves even more.
Like, you get dance floor going in some of these places, or what?
Not always. I do want to come back to these properties. Hopefully,
Yeah, but that could,
that
that could be if it's organic. That could be a welcome thing. All of a sudden, what's worse than going to a wedding and you got a great dance song on and nobody wants to get out there? Now, I know if you're at that wedding, you're in the middle of that dance floor pulling people off the wall. But most people don't want to do that. So if that organically happens at your event, like, that would be awesome, right?
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
that's
why you got to go.
They're normally pretty chill for the most part. Yeah. Everyone knows. But if the energy raises, then yeah, everyone starts getting into it. Like New Bern Country Club, those heads, we shut it down. Get the dance floor rolling and everyone having a good time. But I try to modify myself to a crowd, accordingly. Like if they don't want me at level 10, I want the folks I'm working for to say, "Hey, Jack, we need you at about a 7. I know this crowd. Don't do that." So, but that's part of the fun in this, is like, if they know me and they know who I am, we are cool enough with everyone to at least say that to us. So yeah, and it's great. So we develop a great friendship, and I love being able to talk to the chefs and the F&B directors and PR directors just throughout the year. And what we've got for 2025 is just, it's ridiculous what we've got so far already booked.
Anything you can tease for us here as we broach into 2025?
We have something big coming in 2025. I can't talk about it very much. It's something I've been
exclusive on the show right now.
I cannot drop it just yet. I will tell you. You did. You did that, didn't you? No, it's something. It's something I've been wanting to do for about 8 or 9 years, and I finally have people I trust involved with it. But yeah, it'll make a wave. It'll make its first appearance in 2025, to say the least. But more importantly, please check the shows, check the events, check the calendar. I know that a lot of these places that I do these events are very nice. A lot of them aren't always affordable. I know that, but they're the most extraordinary places in the country where you get to have your favorite food with the people you love. And at some point in our lives, we collect memories and moments instead of material. And that's kind of what I do best. So I look forward to these amazing times. We've got President's Day weekend back at the Ritz-Carlton Naples. So excited for the upcoming 5-year residency that we have for Father's Day weekend at the Ocean House in Rhode Island, Weekapaug Inn up in Rhode Island.
Deal.
Thank you. 5-year deal, 5-year residency for Father's Day. Thank you to Stephanie Levitt, Gabrielle Clark, Chef Terrence, Chef Andrew, Dan, everybody who believed in that. And then the last one that I'll say, Derek Flint, just one of the greatest guys I've met. Market manager for the Ritz-Carlton, Coconut Grove, and Key Biscayne. The Key Biscayne Ritz-Carlton is undergoing a renovation from May 1st to December 1st. So beginning in 2026, and we did it July 4th there this year. It was unbelievable. Beginning in July 2026 through 2029, we have a July 4th residency at the Ritz-Carlton Key Biscayne. So 2025, the last one, Keswick Hall in Virginia. This is going to be a great time. I'm excited to do one in the mountains, my home state of Virginia. After that, for the next 4 years, if you want to come to one of my July 4th events, it's got to be at the Ritz-Carlton Key Biscayne in Miami. So we're going to be spending a lot of time in South Florida doing it up. They get the vibe. It's a place of energy, and we all figured it all out. So
let's end with this question. Where does it go? Do you see an end? Do you think in 5 years from now we're going to be rejoining for another conversation about what's happened the last 5 years and where the next 5 years are going to go, or do you see the end point quicker?
No, I don't. When I'm blessed to get multiple residencies right now, that it's working. It's different. No one else can do it. A lot of these places are able to tolerate me once a year. So some of them even more. So yeah, there's no end to this. I'll do this forever because the energy for some reason has only gone up. I mean, I don't know why. I can't really explain it, but I just get more and more fired up for these things. I mean, I look at these places, I look up the chefs, and I'm so lucky. I mean, in the end, I believe you make your own luck. But I am so fortunate, like just as a backyard guy who started cooking in his backyard in North Carolina a decade ago, to be able to work with the best chefs and the best food and beverage directors in the entire industry, even if for a day, if for a weekend, that's a privilege that people don't really consider that I have. I mean, this is my honor to be there with them. And we're there creating times through backyard barbecue, through great food with smoke in the air, and people just enjoy themselves. We work our lives away. And if you're going to spend one of your 52 Saturdays a year that you have off with me, I will promise you one thing, I'm going to light the night up for you, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Where do we go to book? OfficialJackArnold.com, easiest way?
You can go to OfficialJackArnold.com. If you look at the dates, a lot of the hotels have press releases already where you can book. A lot of them are through Open Table. You can go to the event page, the Marriott page, St. Regis Bell Harbor to book for that. You can go to the Boca Raton website for all those. A lot of the hotels' main websites, you can book through there. Just look through their press releases, their upcoming events, and they'll get you all squared away. You can always call the hotels too and make a reservation by phone. I mean, they make it so easy for you. I mean, that's why they're the best.
Yeah.
So it's a great time. And, you know, if you have a weekend free, fly in, get away from all the stress in life and come have some barbecue and dance the night away with us.
Jackie boy, 5 years has come and gone like a blink.
We better not wait that long again, my man.
No way. I'm not going to let that happen. It's been a complete honor to have you on here for hour number one and to help me wrap up the live shows here in 2024. All I can say is thanks for the time and continued success. You're doing exactly what you should be doing, and it's great to watch you make other people happy and be rewarded doing it. So congratulations.
Well, the privilege is all mine, sir, and thank you for all that you do. I really enjoy the show, and I will not wait 5 years again. I sure hope I get to cook you a steak sometime soon. So.
We'll make it happen. No doubt about it.
And Merry Christmas to you and to all the listeners. Thank you, guys.
You too. Take care. That's Jack Arnold right there. Of course, OfficialJackArnold.com is his website. So if you're interested in making a book, do that. Very easy. That's what's great about Four Seasons, as he'd said, Ritz-Carlton, all those great properties. Make it real easy for to get out there. And wouldn't it be great to have a barbecue dinner or a steak dinner prepared by one Jack Arnold? The answer is yes, of course. All right, we are a little behind. I anticipated for that. Don't worry about it. Also, at Jack Arnold on Instagram, 150,000 of you are following him over there. He's probably on various other platforms as well. He's a very diverse guy. Great, wonderful catching up with Jack. I mean, he is a gem. One of one, as they say. All right, well, I know it's not Primo, but oh, how I wish it would have been Primo that Jack was using, but no names, please. It's a different one, but I'm talking to you about Primo here tonight. That's right. What do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they are fuel efficient. We love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures. We love that you can get rip-roaring hot. Either do low and slow or high heat grilling, yes. What's different about Primo? The oval design. You know this. It's the only way you're getting true two-zone fires. Can't do it in a round cooker, at least not that well. But in the oval, you can do it really well. So if two-zone setups are right at the peak of what is important when you're buying a new ceramic cooker, then Primo's the only one you can look at. Only sold through dealers. Go to primogrill.com. Find the dealer near you. Check them out in person. Buy the oval that best fits your need. As always, I'm recommending the XL at a minimum, even if you're just a party of 2 or 3. Extra space never hurt anybody. Not enough space hurt everybody. primogrill.com. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Trying to line up a interview with Nick Bauer for first part of next year. A lot of accessories that I hear are coming down the pike as well. primogrill.com. Let's wrap this first hour and do an abridged second hour, shall we? Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Jack Arnold once again for joining us during the first hour. Official jackarnold.com, his website, if you would like to check it out. And no further talk out needed. We'll try and recapture the clock here a little bit before West Wright pops up. So stand by for the second hour. You are listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show right here on the Barbecue Central Radio Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.